Hey, welcome. Today we are going to pull back the curtain on something that's, well, fundamental to how tech gets made. We're talking about who these projects are really for and the massive responsibility that lands on the shoulders of the people who build them. So let's kick things off with what sounds like a really simple question.
Right. So picture this. A company decides they need a brand new system for processing all their sales orders. The big question is, who's the user here? Now, your first instinct, probably, is to say the sales team, right? I mean, they're the ones in there every day, clicking the buttons, typing in the data. And look, you're not wrong, but that is just the tip of the iceberg. See, that one simple system is actually the central hub for this huge kind of hidden network of people. The accountants need it for the numbers to add up. The warehouse team relies on it to know what to ship. The customers, well, they just want their orders to be right. And these ripples just keep spreading out to marketing, to government agencies, even to the local community whose whole economy might be tied to that company doing well. So to get a handle on this tangled web, we can start by splitting them into two big groups. First, you've got your internal stakeholders, the people inside the building, like the employees and their managers. And then you have all the external ones, everyone from your customers and suppliers all the way out to the government and the community at large. And, this way of thinking isn't some new tech fad. It's actually rooted in something called stakeholder theory. It's this idea from way back in the 80s that says a company's job isn't just to make money for its owners, but to think about its responsibility to this entire network of people it touches. Okay, so we've got this huge list of people. But so what? Why does this actually matter in the real world? Is this just some academic box-ticking exercise for a project manager? No. No way. This is where the whole thing becomes incredibly practical. When you map out all these stakeholders, you start to see the future. You can anticipate how your project will impact them, who you actually need to go and talk to, and you can spot those giant roadblocks before you crash right into them. Get this right, and you're not just building a piece of software. You're actually building a solution that works for everyone involved. And that right there is how you skyrocket your chances of success. All right, so we've seen this complex web of people a system affects. But let's flip the coin. What about the people who make it? What's their responsibility in all this? And this brings us to a really fascinating question. I mean, we call doctors and lawyers professionals, right? And that word, it carries this certain weight, this sense of public trust and responsibility. So should software engineering be in that same category? When you look at what usually defines a profession, you see things like a formal education path, getting certified, committing to never stop learning, and, this one's key, a formal code of ethics. Now, software engineering is definitely moving this way, but it's the reason these standards are so important that we need to talk about. And why is that need so urgent? Because sometimes the stakes are unbelievably high. We're talking life and death. Horrific failures in systems like the Therac 25 radiation machine or the London Ambulance Service. Those weren't just annoying glitches. They had devastating real-world consequences. This isn't just about your phone app crashing. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. There's this massive information gap, right? Most of us, even the people hiring tech experts, don't have the deep knowledge to really judge how good their technical work is. We just have to trust them. And that trust is precisely why a professional framework is absolutely essential. So if trust is the foundation we're building on, what's the blueprint? Where's the map? Well, the answer is having a clear ethical compass, a formal code of conduct that helps you navigate the tricky decisions when the right path isn't obvious. A really brilliant example of this in action is the Code of Conduct from the British Computer Society, or the BCS. It's just a fantastic practical framework for how to think about the ethical duties of someone working in technology. And what's great is that the code is built on these 4 simple pillars. Each one covers a different layer of what it means to be a responsible professional. Let's quickly walk through them.
It all kicks off with the most important one, the public interest. This is basically the do no harm principle of tech. It means you're always thinking about how your work affects public health, public safety, the environment, and it means respecting people's rights and always playing by the rules.
Next up is your duty to your employer or your client. This is all about professional integrity. It's about being honest, protecting confidential information, and never, ever using your technical knowledge to take advantage of someone. It's how you build that trust we were talking about. The third pillar zooms out a bit to the profession itself. This one's about remembering that your actions reflect on everybody in your field. It's about protecting that collective reputation, supporting your colleagues, and making sure the public sees tech professionals as people they can count on.
And finally, the fourth pillar brings it all right back home to you, the individual. It's a personal promise to stay competent and act with integrity. That means you've got to commit to learning for your entire career, be honest about what you know and what you don't, and this is huge, take ownership of your work.
So, we've looked at this giant web of people affected by technology, and we've looked at the ethical compass designed to guide the people who build it. So how do we finally connect all these dots? This is it. This is where it all clicks into place. You can't possibly serve the public interest if you don't first take the time to understand who the public is in all of its messy complexity. Mapping out that stakeholder web, that's what gives an ethical code real meaning. It's what makes it powerful.
So I'll leave you with this to chew on. The next time you open up your favorite app, just for a second, think beyond the shiny interface. Ask yourself, who were all the stakeholders they thought about? Or maybe, who did they ignore? What were the hidden ethical choices that the creators made? Choices that are now quietly shaping your daily life. Something to think about.